Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, Gail.
Hello. Right, we've got lots of people coming tonight, which is amazing.
How's your foot now, Gail?
Much better. I've actually got my boot off today.
Hey!
I know. It's like it's a day for celebration for sure.
It's an amazing feeling getting that boot off, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, so now just getting used to being free and walking again. So that's making me very happy.
I broke my foot last year and had boot on for 6 weeks.
Oh, same then. So you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting process, but it's slowed me down. Sometimes that's good. So I'm just going to give like maybe one more minute. So if you are here, if you can make sure that your microphone is turned to mute, please, if possible. And if you just want to pop in the chat, one word about how you feel tonight and maybe where you're from. So if you just want to pop that in the chat whilst you're waiting. Look. Stormy, Hannah is in Weston-super-Mare, excited from Burton-on-Trent. That's Lisa. Oh, Lisa, you're always excited. That's lovely. Excited from Vanessa. Peaceful from Devon. Beautiful. Excited in Doncaster. Amy, who is exhausted, rested in Bristol, sleepy in Dumfries and Galloway. I love that. North London, grateful. Yeah. Anyone who's just joined, hello. We're just going to start in 1 minute. If you can just make sure that your microphone is muted, that would be amazing. Marcia in East London is feeling happy. Still got a few more people coming in. Okay. All right. So I am going to start in a moment. First of all, just to say a massive thank you, as ever, for everyone who comes to my masterclasses. I really appreciate your time in this very busy world, for you to connect with what Blossom and Berry stands for, what we care about, which is infant mental health and all babies knowing that they are loved so that they can reach their full potential and feel connected to everybody else, which I feel at the moment is a very important principle for us all. I feel that there's been lots of things going on, and it's easy to feel disconnected to yourself, to everybody else. And so when we're talking about babies tonight, we're also actually talking about ourselves as well, to be honest, because obviously when we say the nature of babies, we're actually saying the nature of human beings. So everything that we're going to talk about tonight really is also going to hopefully benefit you or children or anyone in your life when we realize that, we are nature. The nature of human beings is that we are nature, and that's really what I want to share with you tonight, and also look at some of the challenges that babies are facing, and how when we respect babies' sovereignty and we honour babies' needs, what we're actually doing is we're creating a society where everyone's needs are honoured and everyone is able to be in their full power, and it all starts at the beginning. And it really shows you a lot about the society that you live in, about the way that we treat babies and the way that we treat parents, because we are the welcoming party for babies. And so how we literally, nurture mothers or those who identify as mothers when they're pregnant, steward babies into the world, how we're their welcoming party, like all of the different values and the different kind of like controls or expectations or restraints that are put on babies really are telling us about the same values that we're putting on ourselves. So that's why I'm so passionate about working with babies, is because we get to build the kind of well, not build, like support the kind of human beings that are going to contribute into our society and create a more healthy and wealthy and educated and connected and peaceful and unified society. And it all starts with babies, and that's why I've been so passionate. So tonight we're going to talk about the nature of babies. It's linking in with today, which is National Nature Babies Day. So some of you might be Blossom and Berry teachers. If you are, welcome. It's beautiful to see you. Some of you might be people that have just signed up for National Nature Babies Day and are curious as to what this is all about. So if you're completely new, welcome. My name is Gail Berry. I'm the founder of Blossom and Berry. Blossom and Berry has been teaching love for the last 20 years. We believe in the power of connection, the power of presence through teaching, nurturing touch, massage, yoga, and in recent years, taking babies and families out into nature through our classes, which are called Tree Babies, which we now have over 300 teachers around the world. And really how National Nature Babies Day links into this and links into Tree Babies is that I feel like the most natural environment to play in, to be curious in, to grow in is nature. And there's a lot of baby spaces that are more focused on doing rather than the being. So there's lots of classes where there's a lot of like sensory overstimulation. There's a lot of props and toys and sounds and flashing lights and neon things and this and that and all these different like kind of ways of stimulating.
Recording in progress.
Oh, can you? Is that me or is that someone's mic? If you can just check that you're muted. Yeah, so I believe that rather than sensory overstimulation, which I think some of the more structured baby classes do, we actually want to encourage sensory integration. So a sensory integration is introducing baby to the world through their senses, but through the natural environment, which is perfectly attuned to baby's nervous system at each stage of their life. So with smaller babies, you know, all they're really interested in is very subtle movements, is confinement, is being close to their parent or carer. You know, that they don't need a huge amount of stimulation because they're just literally waking up. You know, they're a little bud that's just starting to open. And so being blasted with lots and lots of stimulation, you know, it's just too much for babies. And babies' brains are just actually designed to be honing in on their parent and caregiver to create that incredibly important bond that means that babies can relax and know that they're held, they're supported, they're seen, they belong, they're accepted, which allows baby's nervous system to drop into rest and digest, which gives them better sleep, better appetite, so better digestion, more growth, more development. So it's the optimum state for babies to be in, is really in their parent and carer's arms outside in nature, which is where Tree Babies was kind of born. And then all of the activities that are centered in Tree Babies are for the mental well-being really of parents, because parents and carers are babies' first teachers. So the more we can support, nurture and celebrate parents and carers, the more babies are going to be receiving this, because the parents' capacity to love and give and be present is greater when their capacity to love and be present with themselves is greater. So we've got this fantastic resource. It's accessible to everyone, is free in, you know, and abundant. It is constantly there. We're being held in so many different ways, you know, whether it's, I was saying today about National Nature Babies Day, you know, even when you're in the car, you can, you know, stick your head out of the window and feel the sun on your face, or feel the breeze, you know, coming at you through the car window just by putting the window down. That's actually reconnecting to nature. And so is hiking up a mountain, or going wild camping, or, you know, whatever it is, or growing your own food in your garden. That's also connecting with nature. Or, you know, picking some flowers and bringing them in and creating an altar inside, nature altar inside your house. That's also connecting with nature. So there's so much there. You don't have to suddenly, put on your wellies and go stomping out into the countryside if that's not your thing, but you can, like I say, in some small way, start to remember that you are not separate from nature. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight a little bit. So I am going to I'm going to have to ask a question in a minute to somebody in the group who can be like my like little class monitor. I'm going to try and share my screen to a Canva presentation tonight, which I've never done this before. So I'm really hoping that it is going to work. So let's have a little look and see if I can make it work. I'm going to ask someone in a minute if you can see this. I'm really hoping that you can. Can somebody tell me, can you see this? It works. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Technology is not always my thing. So that's perfect. Let's just make sure. Yes, everyone can see it. Okay. So those of you who know me will know that normally when I talk, I kind of just channel it all out. I never prepare notes. I just always turn up and I just talk from the heart, because I've had 20 years of studying this, and it's just what I'm passionate about in life. But tonight I decided to use a little bit of a visual, a little bit of a PowerPoint, because I want to go through some points. And also this is going to be, oh, hold on, this has been paused. Can you still see this? Can someone just pop in the chat? It says it's been paused here. Can you give me a little nudge? You can see it. Okay, perfect. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to go through different points, and there's going to be an opportunity for sharing as well, because I really want to share tonight and get you guys involved, because you're as much of a part of this as I am, because it's National Nature Babies Day. I want this to be a collaborative day, and obviously today is the first one we've ever done. We put a little seed in the ground. I think we've had about 170 people sign up for the free resources, which is amazing to get us started. And next year I hope to build on this, create partnerships like the Woodland Trust, Forestry Commission, National Trust, get involved with other forest schools, and really make this a beautiful day of celebration. And of course, everyone has the opportunity to connect every single day. It's just on these awareness days, it's when we can really brainstorm about and be heard. I would love to hear your voices on this, because it's not about me, it's about us together changing the paradigm around how babies are viewed, and giving babies the best possible start in life to support their mental health, because everybody's health is infant mental health. And so your mental health is going to be primarily based actually on what happened to you in the first 7 years of life, and now we know it's actually in the first 1001 days of life, which is why we focus a lot at Blossom and Berry on the first 1001 days of life. So this is really exciting. So let's have a look at what we're going to do tonight. So first of all, we'll talk about some of the challenges that I believe are facing babies in today's society and the way that things are set up. So I think that there's a whole range of different philosophies around parenting, and depending on where you live in the world, and depending on your cultural practices, and obviously your race, your gender identification, you're going to have other kind of paradigms that go on top of mainstream culture. So I'm not whitewashing and vanilla flavoring parenting in any way. It's going to be very different for each individual person, and it's very important at Blossom, we do this at Blossom and Berry, is to honor every single individual parenting style without judgment, because all is welcome. And it's not our job to correct people's parenting style. It's our job to offer different perspectives and invite people to be curious about what it might be like to challenge some of the views they might be holding, and also break some of the intergenerational patterns that are passed on from the way that you were parented to the way that you might be parenting your family to the way that your children would parent, and it goes on and on and on. And that's how you can break big cycles of intergenerational trauma or patterns, and really have more freedom in expression, and everyone being able to be in their sovereign power. So one of the things I noticed is that babies, there's a lot of expectations that are put on babies when they're born. From the moment babies are into the world, they are weighed, they have their heel prick tests, they have all these different tests and things done on them to make sure straight away that they're fitting into what a healthy baby looks like. Now, it starts literally seconds after the baby's born. There's been studies that have been done that say that babies, Western babies tend to smile after about 8 weeks after birth on average. And there's no real reason why it would take 8 weeks for a baby to smile, because smiling is a natural response. And they compared how quickly babies smile with babies that were born in a village in Uganda. And those babies were often born at home, born into community. Mothers were nurtured, looked after. It was seen as a very natural process. And those babies were observed to be smiling after just 2 days. So whereas it's been thought in the West that babies don't smile until they're about 8 weeks old, it's just wind or gas. The studies that they've done with this village in Uganda says that that's not the case. It's just that the babies that are born, when they're held and they're contained and they have the support of their mothers and they're just immediately accepted, they actually are able to relax and start to immediately flow and mirror what they're receiving from their parents. And actually with Western babies, because we're all very stressed, it's actually preventing babies are getting stressed straight away. Babies are taking on those worrying characteristics in parenting paradigms where there's expectations about babies sleeping or feeding in certain ways, or babies' weight, or all of these different things, or their separation from babies, so they're not co-sleeping, or they might not be breast or chest feeding. So that's not a natural environment for a human mammal. A human mammal wants to be held like in the village in Uganda, and co-sleeping and breast and chest feeding and baby wearing, and being present with their parents and also other people within the village, which is called alloparenting. So that study is showing us that pretty much as soon as babies are born, we have these expectations that they are going to sleep when we want them to sleep, they're going to feed when we want them to feed, because we live in a world where if you want something, you just press the button and it's done. We don't have a lot of patience. We live in a society of immediacy. So as soon as we have a baby, we want to, as parents and carers, feel immediately like, yeah, I've got this. Yeah, okay, yeah, totally. That's what it's all about. Yeah, mastered that. But there is no course that's, 10 days to be a successful parent. I've got 3 children, 21, 18, 19. I don't know anything about parenting a 21, 19 and 18-year-old on this particular day with all the different challenges that come up for them. It's just a mystery. It's a mystery that opens in every moment. So there's no mastery involved. There's no way that I can turn on and off my children's feelings, or tell them that expect them to go to bed here, or do this or do that. Yes, I can mirror it. I can embody it. I can suggest it. I can provide a safe environment for my children to explore, but I can't control them. And with babies, the expectation is even higher, especially around things like sleeping and sleep training. Whereas babies are just, they're like, again, let's think of the babies. The nature of babies is a baby is a bud. And it's just opening very, very slowly, and you cannot force the bud to burst open until it's ready. And so some buds are going to open at a faster rate, probably, if we take the analogy of being nurtured where the sun is shining, so the parent and the carer is present, the energy is there, the presence is there, the eye contact there is the mirroring is there, the physical sensation is there, that if that's the sunshine, that bud's going to open up quicker. We're seeing that in the fact that those babies are smiling after 2 days. With some types of more sort of control-based Western parenting, we're trying to get that bud to open, and we're forcing the bud to open, and it doesn't want to. And when it doesn't open, we're disappointed, and then we start Googling, and we put expectations on ourselves and our babies, and we create all of this sort of disconnection and projection on a relationship with basically are babies who are completely passive in this. So could you just check your mic is off? Sorry, I think there's a little bit of background noise there. Whoever's got their mic on, can you just check you've got it switched off? Thank you. So we want to really take ourselves away from this. And I don't believe that there's anybody consciously as a parent who thinks their baby is a machine, who thinks that they can turn their baby on and off. Of course, it's not a conscious thing, but it's an unconscious thing. But whether it's conscious or unconscious, if it's still happening, it's not going to, it's not in our baby's best interests. So to kind of follow on from that, babies are not linear, they're not perfect, and they're just not meant to be controlled. The nature of babies is that they're wild. The nature of babies is that they are the bud that needs to open with the sunshine in those conditions, which is perfect for them to open and flourish and to receive. Babies aren't here to give to us. Babies aren't here to entertain us. They are beautiful souls that have just arrived on the planet, and they need us to meet their needs so that they can feel safe to open up and to flourish and to grow. I see babies as the seed of the baby is actually, created when the mother or the person who identifies as mother becomes pregnant, and the womb is really the fertile soil that starts the seed to put the roots down and grow. And that's why we know that what happens in pregnancy is so influential on what happens to babies even before they're born, in terms of their mental health and their development, and even their physical expression is affected by the mother or the person who identifies as a mother's well-being. So when the baby's born, they're more in this bud phase. And so it's very important to drop these ideas, these expectations, these judgments, this control-based parenting that we want that babies should be doing anything. I think it's also interesting just to turn it and think, where else in life are we going around expecting other humans to do things? Where are we putting judgments on other humans? Where do we want other humans to behave in a certain way? Again, what we're doing to babies, we're probably doing to each other in other parts of our lives. So I always say, it's always between you and you as a parent. Everywhere you go, there you are. So what you're doing with your baby, you're probably doing, potentially in another relationship. It could be with a partner or a friend or at work or whatever. So these babies are mirrors. Babies are reflectors. Babies tell the truth. They're not here to make it easy for us. They're actually our greatest teachers. So it's very important to surrender to the process of parenting and to accept babies exactly as they are. Because what happens when you accept that your baby exactly as they are is that you accept yourself as a parent exactly as you are. Because what is on the outside is what is inside. So this is where there's a lot of power in this, and taking parents and carers out into nature, because when parents and carers feel more relaxed and more nurtured and celebrated and more connected to their bodies, they're likely to think, okay, this feels good, so now I'm going to take my baby, my family into this environment as well. Oh, is the slide's not moving through? Okay. Oh no, I didn't want this to happen. Just bear with me 1 second. I might have to do something a little bit strange. So let me just see. Sorry, I thought this was a bit too good to be true. You're all still on the first page. Can you see that now? Someone give me some. Can you see the big screen now? Can someone let me know? Sorry about this.
It says challenges facing babies now.
Yes. Okay. Can you now see this one? Babies.
Yeah, babies are not machines.
Okay. It doesn't look pretty, but I'm going to keep it like this because I don't know how to do it on the big version. And hopefully, the most important thing is that you're picking up on the passion of what I'm sharing. So For those of you who have just joined, welcome, and we're just going through the slides. So babies are not linear perfect, and they're not meant to be controlled. So that, for me, babies are love. And not only are they love, they are 100% love. So when babies are conceived, I mean, this is the really wild thing, is if you actually think about the miracle of life, it's not just that, you can create a baby through the presence of a sperm and an egg. It's the light of consciousness that arrives. I mean, that's another question. Where does that come from? But, the biologically, a container is created and then consciousness appears. And that consciousness, I believe, from my own life and experience, is 100% love. I believe that we all live in love consciousness. So in which case, whatever comes into that container is 100% love. And then what grows from that seed of 100% love in the womb, when babies are born, they are here ready to receive. They are open. The reason why they're 100% love for me is because they're compassionate. They are accepting. They live in surrender. They live in grace. They are playful. They are curious. They are full of wonder and awe. They are in surrender. Their natural state is to be very relaxed and to sleep well and to eat well. Babies can teach us a lot about how to live, because they're not busy rushing around like trying to do anything. They're just literally living moment by moment, receiving everything that they desire, responding to it largely with joyfulness or pleasure. And if they have a need, they will communicate it honestly. They're not hiding. They're not people pleasing. They're not pretending to be anything else. They're not using any of their energy for anything other than simply being. And that, for me, is love. And if you look in nature, you will find that is what nature is. Like, nature doesn't waste any energy trying to be anything other than it is. A rose is not trying to be a tree. It is a rose. It is a beautiful rose, and it blooms next to all of the other roses on the rose bush. And it just knows that it is taken care of, and there's a cycle to that rose's life. And then, another rose appears. And so nature and babies are both 100% love. So the nature of babies is 100% love, and the nature of nature is 100% love as well. And this is so important to remember. So if we're these custodians of 100% love, the question is, what are we doing that is taking that 100% love and bringing it down in every moment, in every judgment, in every expectation that is taking place? Why are we doing that? And how can we become aware of the judgments and the expectations that we're putting on babies, and we're stopping doing that, and we're keeping babies as high up for that 100% love as we can? Because imagine if every single person who was born was 100% love and stayed at 100% love. Imagine the vibration of the planet. Imagine the level of self-love, self-sovereignty, the health, the wealth. Imagine the kind of world we would live in if we were able to maintain even 95% self-love. Whereas the reality is that for most people, most people are struggling with 10% self-love, and yet we start with a full tank. And then life happens, and we get projected on with views of our parents or our carers or society or all of these different things. So when we become conscious of this, it means as a parent, you can take a moment and say, okay, what do I choose here? Do I choose love or do I choose control? Am I going to honor my baby's needs and accept my baby exactly as they are? I'm going to be compassionate and kind. I'm just going to be here now in this moment, knowing that this too shall pass, and that this particular moment, my baby needs to express themselves like this, and I honor it. Or are we going to say, I'm going to try and control this process? Now, again, bringing it back to nature, you can't control nature. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the big disasters that are happening here in the world right now. You can't say, I really, 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 really want it to be sunny today, and the weather is going to be sunny. Okay, it might be, or it might not. You have to accept it exactly as it is. And that's exactly the same as babies. So the nature of babies is the same as nature again, is that we have to live in this state of surrender and a state of acceptance, knowing that whatever comes, if it's rainy one day, it's going to be sunny the next. There's clouds that come across the sun, they block out the sun, and then they move past. It's the same with every phase of babies' lives. The same, as adults as well, we're not perfect. Like sometimes we feel stormy like the clouds, and sometimes we're brilliant sunshine, and sometimes it's rainy and all the rest of it. And this is the thing, is that we've forgotten that we are nature, and that nature is variable, and it just comes and emerges, and then it moves through into something else. It doesn't, nature and babies do not get caught up in the, why do I feel like this? I need to fix myself. There's something wrong with me. Like, why am I feeling like this? That it's just not, this is what we are facing as adult human beings, is the overthinking rather than the being in whatever is and accepting it fully. So it's really important to keep that in mind, that babies are unique and wild. And when we see them like that, we just say, okay, and that's okay. And that gives so much more freedom for you and your baby. There's so much more joy in enjoying the sunny days. And then when it's the rainy days, knowing, okay, I couldn't do what I wanted to do on that day with my baby. Or, okay, I really wanted my baby to sleep through the night from day one, but they have colic, and so they're not going to do that. So I'm just going to be with my baby in this phase when they are colicky, and I am going to be with my baby when they're not sleeping through the night. And even though I prefer it to be sunshine and roses, it's not that at the moment, but I fully accept it, and I just allow the lesson and the experience to teach me something about myself and my baby. And I allow this experience to bring me closer to my baby, not further apart. So rather than having expectations and judgments, I'm practicing acceptance, compassion, and kindness. So it's really, really important to change that viewpoint by seeing babies as nature, and just, we can't control them. So the main principles that I wanted to talk about tonight are the fact that babies are nature, which we're going to go into a little bit more deeply, the nurturing care that nature provides, and why it's really important for babies to remember that they are nature, because I believe that actually as humans we have forgotten. I think most human beings see nature as something outside of yourself. And that, if you look at the way that we treat nature, if you imagine nature was a person, the way that I often look at my bin and I think to myself, I am putting all of this plastic, like I'm recycling it, but it's still a lot of plastic. And I'm putting this it'd be like walking over to somebody's garden and just putting all the rubbish in their garden, just watching it piling up and up and up and up. That's what we're doing to the earth. That's just with plastic. Let's not even get into how we're polluting the air, polluting the rivers, polluting the earth, cutting down the trees. It's a complete disrespect for the mother, the ultimate mother that is providing everything for us. And the damage that we're doing. There's a report about 2 weeks ago that said, if we don't act now, there's no turning back, and I don't want that to be on my watch, because I don't want to be the ancestor that my 7 generations in the front of me says, well, what were they doing back then? Like, didn't they realize that what the actions that they were taking was hurting the planet? I don't want to be that person. So in the ways that I can, and of course I'm human and I'm not perfect, and there are times when I do things that are convenient and I try to offset that, like I fly and I offset my carbon and things like that. So everyone has their own way of doing it, but it's just the remembering that you are connected that is so, so important right now. So babies in nature, because they're made up of earth, air, water, and fire, just the same as we are. They're human beings. And I love this quote, which is, we know ourselves to be made from this earth. We know this earth is made from our bodies, for we see ourselves and we are nature. We are nature seeing nature. Nature weeping, nature speaking of nature to nature. Like, we are in a nature but there's no separation. This is the thing. It's like, it's not even what are we doing to nature, it's what are we doing to ourselves, because the water that we are drinking is the same water that we are polluting. The air that we're breathing is the same air that we're polluting. And I could go on and on, because we are the same. And, you know, a really easy way to just remind yourself of this is that when we die, which is the only thing that we know that will definitely happen in life, that's the one thing we can be certain of, you will become earth, air, water, and fire. That's it. That's all you know. So you are, you know, our brains, we've been tricked into believing that we are not nature. And we've forgotten that nature wants to love us and wants us to be connected. It wants to have a relationship with us. If you think about the abundance that we receive, like when you wake up in the morning, there is air to breathe. You know, we don't think about that, but where does that air come from? It comes from the trees that are living on the planet, that have been here for billions and billions and billions of years before we showed up. You know, like we're the ones who've just turned up at the party and are making a right old mess. Everyone, you know, nature's been living in unity and harmony for forever. And I saw something that David Attenborough said, that now 93% of all the animals on the planet are domesticated animals that are used for farming, and only 7% of the animals that live on the planet are wild animals, because their habitat has been taken away, or they have been poached, or they've been hunted. And so all the animals that are living on the planet are on the planet, well, 93% of the animals living on the planet are there to serve humans and to provide food. Like, that's not living in balance and unity and harmony. So when we become aware of this, and we realize that our babies are nature, this is our chance to create that relationship with nature, to teach babies this now, so that they become more conscious of the relationship. And very slowly we start to move the needle from where we are now, which is basically, you know, like climate emergency, back into, okay, I know that there are choices I can make here that are more aligned with living our lives. Now, obviously, there's huge policymakers and things like that. You know, we're very, very small part, but you're still a part, and your family is a part, and your baby is a part. And so it's really, really important to honor this. And, you know, remember that nature is here to bring babies home to themselves. And as well as babies just having this deep remembrance at the beginning, so they have this reverence and devotion to nature, it's also going to help to soothe and calm their nervous system and by feeling connected to nature, you know that you're never alone. So, for example, if you have mental well-being challenges and you feel abandoned or rejected or isolated or lonely or disconnected, you know, nature is there to hold you if you can start to create a relationship with nature. And if there are green spaces around, and, you know, we have birds that are singing and things like that. I mean, imagine living in a world where there's no bird song because there's no trees. Like, it's just like a horrible kind of idea. But, you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibilities if we don't become more conscious. So I really love this quote by Andy Goldsworthy, who the quote is often used, which is, we often forget that we are nature. Nature is not something separate from us. So when we say we have lost our connection to nature, we've actually lost our connection to ourselves. And again, this is why I was saying that, you know, everything that's happening on the outside is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. So when you start to realize how you're treating nature, you might start to realize how you're treating yourself as well. So if you want things to be provided quickly, are you making yourself do things quickly? Are you beating yourself up because you don't have something right now? Whereas actually nature is teaching patience, the cyclical nature of life, you know, seasons, slowing down, stillness, you know, like when the lights go off, when the sun goes down, you know, at the moment it's like 8 o'clock in the UK, that's the time to switch off your phone and really to go to bed. Because that's why back then it would have just been the campfire stories and the stars to entertain you, not looking at your phone or TikTok past midnight scrolling through stuff, you know. So there's a lot that nature can teach us about our nature. And as I was saying, that it provides for babies sensory integration and harmony, not sensory overstimulation. And this is so important, because imagine that you were put into a room and you might not have been consented to being put in that room. You might have just ended up in that room. Someone took you there. And regardless of your state of mind, whether you're hungry or you need to go to the toilet, or you're tired or anything, or you're not feeling very well, you're then exposed to lights, noise, music, things in your face. You've got no sense of space or proprioception, so you're sort of free floating in an environment of stimulation, like 100%. Now we think that is what babies want, because that's what we do, because we're on our phones all the time and we're always looking for the next big dopamine high and the next big this and the next big that, and things are getting bigger and brighter and bolder and louder and whatever. Like, as humans, as adult humans with fully developed brains, this can often be like our nervous systems are like and fried. And so that then we're doing this to babies that have got, which are buds, and they're 100% love. They're this blank, it's a blank canvas. Babies are blank canvas, and we're putting all of this stimulation onto those babies. When you actually think about it, again, it's just assumed as normal, but really, is it? If you just need to tune in and think, is this what my baby desires? Is this the right thing, or is it just like what everybody is doing? And making that decision that no, that's just not for me. That's just not what my baby enjoys. So nature, on the other hand, is perfectly in tune with our senses. So it just, there's so many studies that show that it supports our immune system, it brings us into our bodies, it lowers our heart rate, it increases our breathing. There's actually little photosites, like oils in the air that we breathe in that have been shown to help with things like cancer and other autoimmune diseases. So everything about nature is supporting us. Like, medicines are all coming from nature. Everything comes, like I said, it's a sealed unit. There's nothing here that isn't in nature. Our very bodies are made up of the same atoms that are in the stars. There's no way to get out of the system. And so that's why what I'm saying is what you're doing, on the what's happening on the outside is a direct reflection of what you're also doing to yourself, which is why sometimes when you have these realizations, there's a slight sense of like horror as to, oh yeah, like I've just been walking around and I forgot. So if you're feeling any of that, please know that it's a dance between forgetting and remembering. I'm nature, I'm part of this. It's unity, it's harmony. Oh no, I'm separate and I need to strive and I need to do this and it's not safe and I need to do all of the stuff. Oh no, I remember. So in life, it's a dance between the two. And, even the most spiritually enlightened, evolved human beings are still human beings, and we have brains and thoughts and an ego for a reason. But just a tiny bit of awareness, just moving the needle by 1%, can just start to just change your perspective and allow you to be curious and explore a different way of thinking. And you might explore it and say, no, I don't believe that. That's not for me. There's no judgment there. Or you might explore it and go, wow, actually, I'm interested in this. What can I do to be more connected to nature, to be in more reverence and be in more devotion, and ensure that the people that, I'm not that ancestor. So it's all up for contemplation. So also remembering that nature, Mother Earth is our ultimate mother. As I said, everything comes from this one point of birthing, whatever you want to see it. Many different religious texts explain it in a different way. Science calls it the Big Bang. At one point, there was an explosion of energy that came from darkness. So there was a seed of something, consciousness, if you like, or whatever you want to call it, atomic particles. And from that darkness, that seed was birthed absolutely every single thing that you see in this world. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted and changed. So that cosmic womb, if you like, birthed everything. So nature is our mother, and mothers, or those who identify as mothers, are nurturing, they are giving, they are here to love us and to support us and to provide us with this beautiful playground to explore and have the magic and mystery of life. With nature, we're not here to defeat nature or win against nature, because we are nature. So the internal battle between trying to control nature or to take from nature all the time, we're just depleting ourselves, because we are, abusing our mother that is providing. So it's really important to see the bountiful nature of nature as a mother. And it's a great analogy, actually, for parenting, in that can we just be, as parents and carers, that source of abundance, that source of unconditional love, that source of support without judgment, with just giving and holding and loving and witnessing and observing. And, from time to time, nature is very destructive, and it has to come in and give us a spanking and say, no, that's not what you do here. And we have these, we have big things in nature that bring destruction. But then things go back, something is rebirthed from that, and it comes back into harmony and into balance. So Mother Nature teaches us lessons as well as holding us. So again, as parents and carers, it's a really good model for the way we are actually holding space for our children, that there will be times when we have to, give lessons and to guide in a more direct way. But generally, we just want to hold this beautiful space of love and true expression and expansion. And nature just provides us with this unconditional nurturing care. And so, it's just a beautiful question to ask ourselves, is what can we learn from the ultimate mother? And how can we bring this into our parenting? So for me, these are just some of the things that came to my mind. Nature gives us unconditional love. Nature is always present with us at all times in its beauty. In the dark, the night sky with the stars is as beautiful as the morning sun and the birds singing. Nature holds us. Nature provides us with an abundance of everything that we need. Nature gives us wonder. It gives us joy. It gives us playfulness. It gives us pleasure. It accepts us in our complete imperfection, and it's also cyclical as well. So these principles are really, really, I believe, useful when we're thinking about our own parenting and caring styles, because again, we're not separate from nature. Why not learn from nature how nature has for billions and billions of years been able to maintain peace, harmony and unity, and everything working together in beautiful synergy? Why not learn from the ultimate mother rather than some of the things that we're expecting babies to do? If we go back to the beginning, the on and off switch and expecting babies to perform and all of those things, that's not what nature does to us. So we're going against our nature when we try to control babies in that way. So our relationship and connection to nature is a reflection of our relationship and our connection with ourselves. So that's just one for you to have a really beautiful, deep contemplation on, because, we could sit around a wonderful campfire and have a conversation about this. And I think we'd all come out with a greater awareness of our behavior and a bit more consciousness about, what we do, and taking radical responsibility for the way that we live our lives. I think there's something that everybody can probably do on this call that would bring you more into harmony and balance with nature. And that's for you to contemplate, not for me to kind of tell you what to do, because we're all on our own journeys around it. And this is a beautiful quote as well by Thomas Berry, which is, "The natural world is the largest the larger sacred community to which we belong. To be alienated from this community is to become destitute in all that makes us human. To damage this community is to diminish our own existence. So again, it's the mirrors upon mirrors, and this is where my invitation is to be part of the Tree Babies Revolution, be part of National Nature Babies Day, to really start to change this so that we're not causing the damage. We're actually being present. We're actually giving back to nature. We're in the reverence, we're in the devotion, and we're teaching our families and our children that this is a place where we can find love, where we can find support, where we can go for peace and harmony and unity, where we're not judged, and we can stand in circle with other human beings, dropping into our hearts, because we know that nature is full of this unconditional love. And also, you know, I'm not just saying this because, you know, it's my belief, but I know from Tree Babies classes and the feedback that we've got from Tree Babies classes, people say, I've never been to a class like this. I've not been seen like this. I've never felt like this. I've not had so much fun. I'm building up real connections, a real community. I feel really different going to a Tree Babies class. So we're seeing it in just the joy and the wonder and the playfulness and the curiosity and the connections and the community and the desire for then this practice to go into families outside of Tree Babies classes as well. So yeah, you know, like, it's not just me sort of bringing up quotes or doing rhetoric, you know, it's backed up with the feedback that we get from classes as well. So the question to consider is, how is the earth mirroring our relationship to ourselves? And I wanted to share with you this concept, which you may not have heard of before, called the worldwide view. And it's actually created by a scholar, an amazing scholar called Don Trent Jacobs, also known as Four Arrows, and he is from Native American First Nations community, and he's also an amazing academic as well, and he's put together what he calls a worldwide view. And so I've just put a little bit of it here so that you can see how in many societies and religions, there are certain principles that are well held worldwide. So regardless of like how you identify yourself. And then when you look at what is going on in Western society, you'll see that there's basically there's a fail going on here. So these principles of spirit, life, force pervades all things, mutual relatedness with all, diversity and unity together, that proper behavior is being humble, acting with holistic virtue, so considering everything, community welfare, heart overhead, the laws of nature are primary to follow, holistic thriving is the goal, harmony and balance are the aims, and to go with the flow of the natural world. And in healing and learning, restorative justice, men's relations rather than imprisonment or punishment, alternative consciousness is essential, and humans as young siblings have much to learn from the rest of nature. So if you look at how these are represented, you've got Indigenous First Nation cultures, where that in pretty much wherever you are in the world, what he's put together is this is held whether you are an Aboriginal identifying as from an Aboriginal culture, or Maori, or Native American, or African, Kemet, whatever it is. These are held throughout all of the First Nation view. Then you've got the Tao, which is the Chinese kind of energetic perspective on life. Then you've got quantum physics, which actually is very close on a lot of things to a lot of the energetic principles that are held in maybe more conscious communities. But they're only looking really at the physics. So the first one's like spirit and life force pervades all things, diversity and unity together. That is all being shown now with quantum science, that there is just oneness. There is only energy we're in a sealed unit, it can't be created or destroyed, it's just transmuted. So it follows on the science, but then when you get to how that manifests in society, it's still not coming through in our behavior or our healing or our medicine or our learning. And then when you look at Western cultural practices, it's not lining up at all. So you've got two ends of the scale here, and the indigenous cultures, most indigenous cultures, were living in harmony with each other, with the earth, and they were having all of their needs met. And there was not stress, there was no such thing as stress. There was the thinking mind and the desire to be somewhere else or obtain something else or get somewhere didn't exist. It was just about being present with what is, in a timeless state of harmony. So we are so far away from this that there's an invitation to really look at the worldwide view and start to bring it into our parenting practices, into our classes, into our education. And this is this is a much more detailed version of like the different styles of sort of the dominant worldview versus the indigenous worldview. And unfortunately this picture hasn't come up, but there's a picture there of the book, which is called the kinship, the worldwide view kinship. I think, I can't remember actually off the top of my head. I've got it somewhere over there, and it's an absolutely fantastic book to read. It really, really challenges everything around your consciousness about the way that we're living. But you will find, actually, going back to this slide, that a lot of the things that we're teaching here at Blossom and Berry are in alignment with these principles of kinship. And Blossom and Berry's business model is very unusual in this way, in that you are a student for life with us. You're always part of the community. Whenever you need anything, I listen to you, I create it. We definitely are heart overhead. We thrive together as a community. There's no license fees, there's no competition. And we've gone through a lot of things through COVID and all these different challenges, and we always work together. So it's possible, and you can have this. I like to think that I have this in my own family, and so I've got my Blossom and Berry, then I've got my family, and then even with myself, I try to treat myself with these same sort of values, so I'm embodied. So it starts with you. This process starts with you, and it starts with babies, the environment that we're holding babies in. So again, super powerful contemplative questions to kind of go through. So the question is what can we do? And I'm going to open this up in a minute, just for I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this. From my point of view, this is what I have been doing, and it's some signposting for you. So learn more about nature connection, and there is a whole body of work called eco-psychology, which is actually, without knowing, I actually have based how I've grown Blossom and Berry over the last 20 years on eco-psychology, which is the idea that you're taking the principles of nature and you're putting it into the way that we think as human beings. And also the worldwide view as well. Lisa just asked me about the book, and I will definitely send you the book. I think the book is in my bedroom, so I can't get it right now, but it's an amazing book. The second one is to educate parents on why this is important and understand and recognise the importance of the above. So this is what I've done today on National Nature Babies Day. It's just an introduction to the subject. On our Tree Babies course, we go deep into this so that you understand the science and the principles. And you also have the embodiment of it by creating your own relationship with nature. Because if it's not embodied, if we're just talking from our heads and we're not in our hearts and we're not in our bodies and we haven't got lived, shared experiences of this, we can't talk from an authentic place. So, to understand more about what I'm saying, go out into nature and sit under a tree and ask the tree, go sit in the sunshine and just notice how you feel with the sun on your face. Go into cold water, swimming, go into the sea and feel your nervous system reset. And look at all the things around you that are teaching you and showing you the way to be more connected to yourself. And then once you have this, then you can share it from this place of embodiment. You can support these principles with your own family, friends, and business. And you can also support people that are advocates and activists. So, like I say, I support many, many charities. As a business, I try to leave no trace and do no harm. So I offset my flying as much as I possibly can. We try to be an eco-friendly business. We have a circular economy, keep waste to as low as we can, all of these different things, again, taking personal responsibility for it. And I have a free course at the moment for anyone who's interested with my other hat on at my website, I Am Gail Berry, where I'm talking more as a business mentorship place, and it's called Love Activism, and that whole course is designed to help you take action in your life and your business, so that you are the solution and not the problem. So that's completely free if you want to go and have a look at that as well. And you might also consider becoming a Tree Babies teacher, joining the Blossomberry community, setting up these safe spaces in your community where parents can be rather than do. They can have experience over expectation, and they're simply, all is welcome. And we also have a brand new free course as well coming up called Home, which is Honour Our Mother Earth. That's what it stands for, and that's going to be open to everybody, not just Blossom and Berry teachers, to help to bring more of this consciousness and social justice for the environment into our lives. So that's really what I wanted to talk about tonight. And to finish on this quote, really, which is to go out, I beg of you, and taste the beauty of the wild. Behold the miracle of the earth with all the wonder of a child. And that's really the perfect quote for today, being National Nature Babies Day, because that is what it is all about, is just to get back into the magic and the remembering. Not beating yourself up if you've forgotten, because sometimes it does bring up anxiety for people. And also we need to be careful that we don't go then into exhaustion of like, I need to solve the problem. Oh no, this is an emergency, because that's not being nature, is it? That's not nature. That's, again, being in the egoic mind and trying to fix and control and do. The best thing to do is to just go out into nature and be respectful and have reverence and start to acclimatize yourself with the cycles and the seasons. Maybe get into some rituals so that you feel connected to nature, and you won't want to do the things. Your behavior will just change as your relationship deepens. So again, just to be mindful of the tricks of the mind, which after this, you might think, oh, okay, I know that now, or I've studied that now, I've ticked that off. Okay, fine. It's a journey, it's a process, it's a forgetting and a remembering in all things. So I would love to open it up now. If anyone wants to share, I would really, really love to hear from you what your thoughts are about anything that I've shared tonight. You're really important. This is as much about you as it is about anybody else. So if anyone feels they want to share, I just thought I'd open it up just for like 15 minutes. So just being mindful that perhaps if you want to say something, if you just pop your name into the chat box, and then I can make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak who wants to say something. And then we can just go around, and if we've got 15 minutes, just to be mindful of how much time, so that everyone has the opportunity to share and speak. So if you want to pop that in, we've got some comments in here as well. Love your passion and really resonate with what you're saying. OMG, absolutely, Gail. It's stressing me out the way that humans are disrespecting our Mother Earth. Lisa's asking what the book is called. It is called Restoring the Kinship Worldview. Yes, it is. Thank you, Lisa. Chelsea says, it's amazing how much this has resonated with me. I live in a rural area and I feel so much happier outside in nature. Claire says, thanks, Gail. Love your passion as always. Lisa says, this totally resonates with me. I love being in nature and taking out my kids. Thank you, Gail. So does anyone want to actually share or speak? Because, as I said, this is a community. So if you don't want to, that's completely fine. If you want to put something in the box, or if you feel that you've heard enough, this will be sent round to everyone on replay. So if you want to have a re-listen to it, sometimes it's just nice to plug it in your ears and just know that you're not alone. You're not going crazy, that you're not the only one, that there are other people that are seeing you, hearing you. Chelsea says the only downside is now I'm super motivated to get started and it's 9 p.m. Welcome to my world. Well, nature turned the lights off about 2 hours ago, so that means it's bedtime, everybody. So we're all allowed to get cuddled up into our little beds and get snuggly, just like we'd be putting our babies to bed. That's what we need to do with ourselves sometimes, is, you know, put our babies in bed, we read them a little story, we cuddle up and we tell them that we love them. Are you doing that with yourself tonight before you dug yourself in? If you're not, maybe give that a little try. The Continuum Concept is a book I read a long time ago, which is very interesting, about the tribe of the Amazon parents. It might be interesting to some. Yeah, I think it's called Gene Leadoff, that book, but the Continuum Concept, it's on the reading list in Blossom and Berry, and that's all about keeping the connection, particularly the physical connection for babies, so that you always have a sense of connection and belonging, because really that is it. It's like when you feel disconnected to yourself, to your passion, to your purpose, to others, to the world, you feel alone, and it messes with our mental well-being. You know, you're not imagining it. It is, you know, we're human, we're social creatures, we're designed to connect, we're designed to you know, be co-regulating from each other. And so, you know, the question is just find the others, okay? They're there, and they're waiting for you. You know, you are the others. Like I say, there's nothing that is not you. And so, this is a bit of a big concept, but you know, you are everything that you see, you're everywhere and everything, and you're also nothing at the same time, just like nature is. You know, nature is the smallest atom, and it's the sun. It's the same. So there's so much beautiful depth to these conversations, and this is just one of the fantastic things about the Tree Babies course and everything that we're doing. Babies are falling asleep. I have a brew and a book, and I'm good right here with my babies on my lap. I love that. I'm going to go to bed because my baby needs me and I need to cuddle up. This is Lash. I haven't heard anyone teach on this in the UK before. Thank you, Gail. Thank you. My little one needs a feed. Thank you for a motivating masterclass. Thank you, Gail. You're changing our world every day. Oh, thank you. I'm not changing the world. I am witnessing beautiful people, you know, joining the Blossom and Berry to do this, because, you know, we're very grassroots. This change only happens when we bring the change in, and me on my own, I can't do that. That's why every single teacher, every single person in my community is a gift to me, truly. And that's why I support my community the way that I do, because without teachers, nothing would be happening. And every time we get a new teacher, that's a new community, that's new parents and babies that are being supported. So that's why, you know, it's very, very important to me. Jodie says, thank you, Gail. Inspiring as always. Amy's here. Hello, Amy. Thank you. Inspiration as always. So happy to be part of this. Yeah, you're not alone. Lean in. And we have some things, if you're a Tree Babies teacher, we have some things coming up. We are having circles. We're going to be having a Tree Babies immersion. If you're not a Tree Babies teacher and you're intrigued and you don't know what I'm talking about, you can pop over to the Blossom and Berry website and find out about how to become a Tree Baby teacher. We've also got the home course, as I said, honouring our Mother Earth. That's going to be free. And on my gailberry.com website, there is the Love activism course as well, which is free as well. So loads of free things, and lots of opportunities to get involved. So Stacey says, beautiful as always. Lisa, yes, you are training as a Tree Babies guide and loving it. Fantastic. Home, says Philippa, when will that be available? It will be available, I think, next week. We're going to launch it on Earth Day, which is the 22nd of April. So that will be out very soon as well. Okay, as usual, I've gone over time because I've always got so much to say. So I'm going to end tonight just by saying thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I hope that it's given you food for thought. We'll send this out on replay. I'll also put a link to the book, Restoring the Worldwide Kinship View, which Lisa very kindly has probably Googled for me already. And I'm just wishing you so much love on National Nature Babies Day. Keep talking about it, keep sharing it. It doesn't just end today, it's every day. And next year we'll be back doing even more. So sending you so much love, and hope to speak and see some of you soon. All right, lots of love. Bye bye.